Hello there, it's Harper. Welcome to Pages and Reels. Today I wanted to focus on Baz Luhrmann's iconic adaptation of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. But this analysis will be about a character that I feel often gets sidelined because she doesn't appear all that much in the play, and that would be Juliet's mother, Lady Capulet. The reason why I wanted to focus specifically on Luhrmann's interpretation of her is because I feel like he and the actor do a very good job of making her a real person rather than a stock character that is simply there to support the main characters. It is also with his interpretation that my mind felt the need to create an entire backstory for her. So once again, I will dive into my weakness and speculate and explore the character of Lady Capulet, specifically in the context of Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. Spoiler alert, I assume you've seen this famous movie and also know the story of Romeo and Juliet. I distinctly remember my first viewing of this adaptation, and I also distinctly recall my first reactions to Lady Capulet when she first came on the screen. I was 11, just to give you guys context, and my reaction was, what's wrong with her? And then, what a weirdo. She's not very nice to Juliet. That's about as much thought as I put into her. I was too busy focusing on the romance between Claire Danes and Leonardo DiCaprio. But as I got older and rewatched it many times after, Diana Venora's version of Lady Capulet has become more compelling, and I find my attention being drawn to her more. A deeply unhappy woman is my assessment of her now, trapped in the gilded cage that she most likely chose for herself. A woman so lost in the performance of who she feels she should be that who she actually is buried deep, so deep that she wouldn't be able to find it even if she tried. I don't have the qualifications to diagnose her, but she does show traits of a histrionic personality and narcissism. What I might do is break down each scene that she's in the movie. I feel like I can do that with this movie because she doesn't feature all that much in it, and I will analyze what we can gather from each scene about her character. Her first appearance in the movie is an unsettling one. She comes out stomping, looking bald. She's not, she's wearing a wig cap, and dressed in a pink see-through nightgown made of lace and feathers, which she ineffectually tries to cover herself with when it opens to reveal she is wearing a corset. You can't help thinking, lady, that nightgown is not covering anything. Right off the bat, her mannerisms are over-exaggerated and theatrical. She kind of reminds me of Gloria Swanson in Sunset Boulevard, the same wild, unhinged eyes. She looks like what she is, a woman on the edge of sanity. A side note here, I like Juliet's nurse, she's funny, but she's not very helpful in calming Lady Capulet down. In my humble opinion, feeding into Lady Capulet's hysteria by scuttling around in a panic and bellowing Juliet's name so that it reverberates all over the mansion is not the way to soothe an already unhinged mistress who clearly just feeds off drama. A more level-headed response from the nurse might have been something like, "Don't worry, we'll find her. There are only so many places she could have gone." Especially since Juliet was just taking a bath. She hardly seemed to be the type who would have left her home to go raving with bikies or something. The interaction that Lady Capulet has with Juliet to me is very interesting and tells me a lot about their relationship. Juliet clearly comes off as the more mature one, even though she is the child. She doesn't seem overly affected by her mother's antics, and there is a distinct aura of, here she goes again, whenever Lady Capulet goes off on her melodramatic tangents. This happens even when Lady Capulet shows outright disdain for her quietly intelligent daughter. Clearly, Juliet has adapted to her mother's instability. Lady Capulet doesn't understand her daughter. She doesn't know how to talk to her, and she has no interest in finding out who her daughter is. You can almost hear Lady Capulet's thoughts as she peers contemptuously at Juliet from underneath her Cleopatra wig. Why are you so weird? Lady Capulet's struggles are also clearly implied when she openly consumes several pills in one gulp. My guess is that one of those pills was an anti-anxiety med. I feel like Lady Capulet is also a woman who craves constant attention, usually from men, and this is no better displayed than in her choice of costume. The gaudy, anachronistic getup is not one that was designed for historical accuracy, but specifically designed to draw attention to her and her body. Cleopatra did not wear a corset, just a side note. It is easy to guess that Lady Capulet married her husband for his status and money, and is also now grieving her own aging process. Maybe having a daughter further exacerbates this pain because it is a constant reminder of her own age. She has very little interest in her daughter's actual well-being and is willing to metaphorically sell her off to the most eligible bachelor in Verona due to his status. Who cares whether he actually loves Juliet and would treat her well? It seems like despite her unhappiness, Lady Capulet is pushing her daughter to become just like her. Throughout the party, we catch glimpses of her, usually behaving outrageously or with hostility. She has that weird kiss with Tybalt too, which implies that something very inappropriate is going on between them. Later in the movie, her hysterical grief at his death further confirms that their relationship was more than just familial. But she does get over it quickly. Even before the scene where Juliet has a breakdown from being forced into marriage to Paris, we as the audience kind of suspect that Lady Capulet's marriage to her husband is not great. There is no real affection between the two, and to further support the theory that Lady Capulet has a strong craving for male attention is when she subtly flirts with Paris every chance she gets. It's very weird. That's her daughter's husband to be, and the way she looks at him is very awkward. Anyway, the moment that truly showed me the nature of the marriage between the Capulets was when Juliet's father hits his wife with so much force that it draws blood, and then he continues raging like a madman and storms off. The way that Lady Capulet just stands there after being hit in horrified resignation implies that something like this has happened many times before to her. So yeah, their marriage is clearly no good and may explain some of Lady Capulet's desperate behaviour. Of course, the way she just abandons Juliet is horrific, but maybe from her perspective, because she didn't know Juliet was already married, she just thought her daughter was being weird and disobedient again. From her perspective, Paris was the perfect match, and all she got from delivering what she thought was good news was hysterics and defiance from her daughter and violence from her husband. She does kind of look like someone who's in shock when she walks away from Juliet, the way she totters off in a daze after being hit by her husband. Again, you can almost hear her thoughts. I cannot deal with this, I just cannot, is kind of what she would be thinking in her mind. The whole situation with her daughter and her husband did escalate very quickly, so it was actually very shocking. And I kept thinking all throughout that scene, is all this screaming, especially by the father, really all that necessary? The only time Lady Capulet shows some semblance of maternal care and love is the night when she comes into Juliet's room just before Juliet drinks the poison. But she doesn't bat an eye when Juliet says to her, "Who knows when they'll meet again?" I mean, what an odd thing to say just before your wedding. But Lady Capulet just smiles and leaves the room. It's like, are you serious? But she does genuinely look distraught when we glimpse her briefly at Juliet's funeral. She's not grieving in the performative, theatrical way like she did with Tybalt, but in an uncharacteristically quiet way, which to me implies that it's genuine. And that's kind of the last we see of her, except at the end scene where the prince bellows, "All are punished." And again, she does look distraught. In many ways, Lady Capulet too is a tragic character in Luhrmann's adaptation, even though she is just a side character. Villainous maybe, flawed definitely, but still pitiable and worthy of our sympathy in many ways. And again, kudos to the actor Diana Venora for being able to bring life to the character in such a unique and compelling way. This was a role that could have easily been overacted, but she managed to keep it from becoming cartoonish. Anyway, I hope that has given you a bit more meat to consider when you watch the film next. That's it for now. Until next time, bye!